Hey guys, welcome back to another lesson. Today we're going to look a little bit at the harmony of Oscar Peterson, and specifically at the ingenious way I think, he opens his rendition of a song called Alice in Wonderland. Now, this song is a fairly cheerful jazz waltz, which kind of goes like this. I just played the first verse, and we're not even going to go through the verse itself, but just at a particular way Oscar Peterson chooses to open this song. So let me play this for you now. So as I've said, we're not really interested in the verse itself, but just in the opening. Now, I didn't exactly play Oscar Peterson's rendition note by note, simply because he has huge hands and I really can't reach the notes. So he has unbelievable spread. But it's close enough to capture the main gist of it. And if you haven't heard this song, by the way, I recommend that you just maybe pause this video and then have a listen. I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube as well. Just look for Alice in Wonderland and Oscar Peterson. Now, I'll do two things in this video. First of all, I'm going to slowly play the chords that Oscar Peterson himself plays and walk you through what he played. So let me start by doing that. The first chord is a D minor 11, and then he has this. He hits the D bass, and then he goes down to chromatically to G. And then he hits the G chord. So for this G chord, this is actually, I would call this a G dominant 7 with a sharp 5 and a flat 9. And you can actually play it like this as well, you know. It doesn't really matter that much. Then he goes into a series of dominant 9, sharp 11th chords. Here's a C dominant 9, sharp 11th chord. G flat dominant 9, sharp 11. F dominant 9, sharp 11. And then he goes into the main body of the song, which is a B minor 7 flat 5 or B half diminished, and then E dominant 7, then A minor 7, and so on and so on. So what's so interesting about this opening, to me at least, there's quite a bit of fun in trying to reverse engineer how other pianists or musicians think. And I have to say that this is a fairly impressive, at least to my ears and thought, kind of twist on the opening. So let me kind of try and walk you through the way I perceive Oscar Peterson to kind of come up with this introduction. Of course, I can never really know what really went through his mind, so I can only kind of try and guess. And that's kind of part of the fun. I'd be happy to hear in the comments if you have other ideas. So he starts this off with a D minor going to a G dominant 7. And this is a 2-5 leading into a 1, which is a C. And this could be a fairly, nondescript introduction to this sort of waltz. So you could do 2, 5. and so on and so on. So you do the 2-5 and you start with the 1. This is the way the song begins. It's in the key of C major, and the 1 here is C major. Now, this is not really what Oscar Peterson does, because after he plays this, well, except for this really interesting voicing of his G dominant 7th chord, he has this series of dominant 9 sharp 11. And he doesn't start at the beginning of the song. He starts with this B half diminished, E dominant 7, and so on. So he kind of skips, or he kind of skips the first bar. He starts from here. And when I first heard this, it kind of, it really made me think about things, because the really good musicians use unexpected harmonic progressions that kind of make you go, wait, what did he exactly do there? And this is, for me, one of those instances. Now, we can try and understand this, and one of the ways I might try and think about this or understand this is say, okay, let's say he thought of playing, so he had this 2-5, and then he thought of starting it. He said, okay, I'll play a C major, but now instead of an A minor, let's play an F major. So it's kind of a very simple substitution. And, it works. But now, what if you turn this into this kind of dominant 9 sharp 11th chord? Now, you're not really playing the melody anymore. You don't really care about the melody, because you decided to sort of forego it. Now, you can then think of maybe doing some sort of chromatic motion. So playing the chord just above F, which would be a G flat, going into the F. And you can play the exact same thing. So you play this sort of thing. So exactly what Oscar Peterson plays. A G flat, 9, dominant 7, going to an F, 9, dominant 7 with the sharp 11 and so on. So this is chromatic motion, and I can understand it. It has a very nice kind of motion to it, which is not just chromatic motion completely, which is part of the brilliance of this particular voicing and progression. And once you play this chromatic introduction or leading chord, you can say, okay, I can also play, to precede that one, it's tritone substitution, which would be a C. So you're playing a C, dominant 9 sharp 11, going to its tritone substitution, a G flat 9 dominant, a G dominant 9 sharp 11, chromatic motion, and then you go on with the song. And really, I have no idea if this is kind of what led Mr. Peterson in his harmonic analysis, and if he came up with this on the spot, or if he sat down and thought about it. Either way, it has a really, really beautiful kind of way of subverting your harmonic expectation. So you start with this very simple introduction, and then suddenly you go into a kind of sequence of chords that you would really not expect, and then immediately go back to the song. And it happens so, his playing is so fluent and flawless that kind of like a picture, a motion picture, where you see these still images fast enough and they coalesce into a meaningful motion, right? Something that is continuous. Kind of a similar thing happens with Oscar Peterson's playing. Now, maybe my entire way of thinking about it is completely wrong. Maybe he had a different thought in mind. Maybe he just experimented and found a cool thing cool sound that he liked. Maybe a friend of his came to him and suggested that he play this, and he just copied it. Who knows? I mean, I'll never be able to ask the person himself. But really thinking about these things is a large part of the fun. And finding these particular cases where, particular bits of music and harmony that really get you stimulated and make you think about them is a great deal of the enjoyment that I personally get out of listening to really good players. So I don't know if you learned something interesting, but I really do hope you have, and I'll see you next time.